know what night it is, Mal?
I think it's a night for drinking whiskey.
And not only is it a night for drinking whiskey and beer, it's regular episode night for Try Before We Die at the Bitter End.
That's right, folks. Good afternoon from sunny New Hampshire. We are back in the bar.
It's been at least a month since we filmed in the bar, because you might remember the last regular episode, we actually were remote, on site in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire.
We were on site at Ramblewoods. Great place.
And so pay attention to the Facebook page. I think we've narrowed down some of the name choices for your camper.
That is correct.
And we may put up a vote. Now, I know your wife isn't super excited about that.
Well, she's excited about the ones that she might put in for the vote.
Yeah.
But there were some good ones. My friend Keith from ACS, that was her favorite one out of all of them, which was Whiskey A Go Go.
Whiskey A Go Go, yep.
But yeah, she's thought some ones that she would rather see on the camper itself. So we may put that up as a poll and see what happens, and we'll pick one. But I think what it's going to boil down to, as in most households, she's just going to pick a name and we're going to go with it.
And the one that I'm rooting for, there's a fly in here somewhere. The one that I'm rooting for, my favorite one, is probably not even going to be on the poll.
No. I think that was shut down many times when we were up in Ramblewoods. Even though me and Colin we did try. We pushed it.
Yep.
It was brought up many times through many nights. It was every time we were shot right down.
It's just not going to fly. And you'll have to message us, and maybe we'll let you know in a private chat. But we just can't even put it out there.
So all right. So let's just
regular episode.
Regular episode. Yep. That means we're going to be back to pulling a number out.
Random.org. You can't see it, but I promise it's what's loaded.
I think the last episode we did do was very exciting. I think the 2 was good. Yep. It'd be nice to bring that in again sometime down the road. But for us to get back on track, it means you're basically going to pull a number.
Yep.
He's going to walk around this lovely place that we call the Bitter End.
Yep.
And he's going to pull a drink, and we're going to try it, and we're going to give you our ideas and thoughts about it.
Right. And if your volume's turned off, turn it on, because the bottle would be here if it was a bonus episode. We would know what we're drinking. So we don't know what it's going to be.
It's something we're definitely not going to know.
Yep. And even though last time the cameraman and our guest knew the bottles they were bringing, we didn't know.
No.
But tonight, it's bottles from the shelves here, just like the project is, built around.
Right back at the bitter end.
Okay, so the random.org has not shut off on us yet. So
so let's spit up a number.
Gonna hit the generate. Here we go. And Flash, I haven't counted the bottles, and so we're gonna have to count the bottles because I actually just caught the number, and it's a high number, so we got to figure a few things out here. But it's bottle 233, which I'm confident we're gonna be in the snooker room, but it's a matter of where in the snooker room. So let's just hang for a second. So we feel good about 198 there. We feel good about 144 here. So I just got to get a count on the other side to bring us to get to 233. So we're at 144. So we're going to go over here. Just count this wall. 144, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 244 plus 50, 294. This wall I know is 18, so 294 plus 20. Mal, 294 plus 20?
3 something.
3 something. 294, 304, 314 minus 2 is 312. 212. 212. I've got lost. 233, 190. We're at 212. 94 plus 18 is 214. Minus 2 is 212. All right, 212. We're into the snooker room.
I'm with you, Flash. Should be numbered.
Yep. So this wall is now World Whiskeys and Open Whiskeys. Doesn't count. 212. All right, so we start here. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. We have forgotten 31. So this brings us 2 to go. And it's a Glenmorangie. And it's a Milsean. And so I know a few things about this whiskey. let's just stop for a second, and I just would like to, if you noticed that my count was odd, we cycled through the bitter end bottles, and then we moved into a collection that was my father-in-law's collection, which is part of the process. We'll talk about that at some point, but there is a reason why I made the count in the order I made the count. So we've actually pulled a bottle of Dave's, which is fine, but that's what just happened. All right, now.
Glenmorangie.
Like moron.
Ooh, that's a very colorful bottle.
Yes, and we're going to learn something about this.
I think we learn something every time we do this show.
So this is the Glenmorangie Milsean. So this is a private edition. Unlike the, where is the language? The Legends series, which is duty-free only.
Yep.
The limited editions, or the private editions, excuse me, are available in stores to the public, but they're short release windows or spans.
All right.
So the Milsean I've not opened before. There are several bottles of this in the bar. And if you had to guess, Malcolm, and we've talked a little bit about the Glenmorangie and the 10 Men of Tane and things along those lines, but what do you think we're going to do with a taste here when we think about the way Glenmorangie has labeled this bottle, the color scheme? What are you thinking?
If I was to base it on just looking at the labels, right, I'm going to say this is going to be a very Candied-based whiskey.
Why would you say that?
Because I believe the top part of this bottle, and if you can't really see it, is very much like candy stripes.
It is like a candy stripe. You know, like a peppermint or something along those lines. The red and white lines. Have you had this?
No.
I also have not had this, but I am under the impression that this is a very sweet whiskey.
I'm going to have to say, based on the what you've brought to the table, and if I was to look at what was in front of me, and also sort of where the rest of the family sits, I would have to agree with you that unless there's some sort of twist that they've done that we are going to be shocked by, I would say this is probably going to be a somewhat of a sweet start, maybe at the end. I don't know. I've never really had one with him, but definitely going to be a candy type of.
This whiskey was brought to the market 2 or 3 years ago for the private edition series. And the feedback that I've received already from other folks who've tried it is consistent with what Malcolm's bringing up. Now, I'm going to take a look and see if I can read some of those words.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it is just awful.
I did see ex-bourbon.
The Milsean is a single malt whiskey matured in ex-bourbon casks, again, which is a contributor to sweet flavors. And then extra matured in former wine casks, re-toasted for the purpose. All right, so what that means is after it was in a charred bourbon cask, they grabbed some wine. It doesn't describe the wine they've used here, but when the wine was emptied from the barrel, they recharred the inside, which says to me, sweet. Because the char in the wood is going to create some sweetness.
Correct.
And if it already had the wine, so there's going to be sugar in the wood from the wine.
Yep.
So let's just take a look at the back, because there are some words on the back too. The Milsean is the 7th release from the private edition series. Our whiskey creators have developed an exceptional expression that deserves to be shared with a select audience.
I'm part of that select audience. I have no doubts about that.
And that select audience is suggesting that it's of Scotch whiskey aficionados.
I don't quite put myself in that thing. But, you
It's a good word.
I like it.
It's a good word.
I'm hoping that's what people think when they look at these. Like we're not just two idiots just drinking. Which, for the most part, that's what we are.
Ex-bourbon casks, re-toasted wine casks. We've got candy stripes on the bottle. We're looking for, I think, a sweet whiskey.
Yep, and I would say, okay, just to describe the color to you guys, this looks very much like an apple cider. Would you agree with that type of thing?
What a great
Deep
description.
Color. That's, I mean, it's probably one of the deeper colors we've seen.
It's fall in New England. It's apple cider season.
It is, and it's definitely got a nice color. It's got a good depth to it. Maybe it's so much with the red labeling that's helping it out, but it certainly has got a deep color to it.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited.
All right.
I'm excited to try it. I'm excited about this apple cider that you've just described too. Curious. So let's see. So it's got the foil pull tab.
Yeah. It's quite the bottle.
All right, so we do know it's a few years on the shelf since it was released. So we're just going to moisten the cork.
Yeah.
And so here we go. Oh yeah, no failure. Okay, ready?
Yep. Oh, good sound.
Yeah, good sound. Little subdued, but still the pop was there.
Yeah.
Instead of the spray, actually, a little just ran down the cork.
You can smell it from here. It's sweet.
Mm.
Oh yeah. I do like the top to that.
Well, you were excited when the foil came off. You know, it's a nice contrast.
Yeah,
because it's very wooden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Compared to this, this
standard.
Right. Well, and it's a stand dish. It stands out the color scheme.
Yeah.
And so it brings it back to a more of a classic bottle. Yeah.
No, that's quite nice.
And it does well with the color of. So again, the color scheme is really trying to tell you a lot. Okay.
Right.
The Glenmorangie Milsean Private Edition, right? Private Edition?
Yep.
Private Edition, the 7th in the series. We have several here. I'm going to have to do a little research to see if we have all 7, because we do have at least 11, 15, or 16 Glenmorangies on the shelf. So we've got some.
Yeah, there's a lot of sweet to this.
There is a lot of sweet.
I'll be shocked if this is anything but sweet.
Yeah. Not expecting any smoke.
I'll start this one off.
Okay.
I'm just going to say this, and this is getting somewhat trite, and I think it's just for the fact that where we are, sitting in a bar that has been sort of dedicated to Scotch. That's a rather enjoyable drink. It's sweet, but it's not overly sweet. It's one of these sweetness you get. The difference between a really sweet peppermint candy and one that's just not quite there. It's just like one that you has some taste, but it doesn't really get any real power behind it. This has that. This is like the sweetness of it is almost. I hate to say it because it's very tough to just judge it like this, but perfect. It's not overly sweet. It's not undersweet. But it's enough to carry through the drink where it brings you to a little bit more at the backside where you have a little bit more.
Yeah. So if we think of it as a spectrum from mild, moderate to severe, right? In the front, in the mouth, I let it rest for a while in my mouth, and it was very mild. And as it rolled back, it moved into a moderate sweetness. And severe is the wrong word, but it was the most sweet at the end, right? And so it really followed this progression from front to back of, and this is the thing, Malcolm. The reviews I've read on this and the conversations I've had in whiskey shops about this, there were a number of folks who were declaring this too sweet.
Okay.
Right? And I was nervous that I was going to experience just so much of an explosion of sugar in the front that I was going to be like, too sweet. But instead, it was this progression, this spectrum, mild, moderate, and then the most sweet at the end.
And I wonder if that those comments were predicated by people who would like a more peatier, more smokier stuff to begin with. I find out myself, I have a more delicate palate. I like my space sides. There's a few other where I go across into maybe the Highlands, and I have a couple places where I'm like, all right, I can deal with this. But once you get into that overly peat, overly smoke, I feel like now it's all up to the taste. Is that have they done a great job of producing a smoky taste that's palatable? Where with this, if the comments were made that it was sweet and it was overly sweet and
Yeah.
then too much, I feel that sort of taking this down the wrong path based on what also with you, what you're tasting. I think this is a rather enjoyable.
Well, let me ask you, with the sweetness in the bottle and the graphics and the layout, I'm sitting here in my head and I'm like, I could drink this on a particular morning. What would be a good morning day for this to happen on, right? And I don't mean a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I want to think about a day when, this is going to be my drink this morning.
To go out on a limb, and I would say if this was me and I was like, oh, you know what, this could start the day off really well, I could honestly see myself cracking this open on Christmas Day.
I was thinking Christmas.
One, it's a colourful bowl, so that
Right.
sort of goes to
Sure,
the wrapping
absolutely.
and the dressing behind everything and the tree and everything. But it is so easy going.
It's calm.
It's just you.
There's
crack
no-
it. It really
Right,
isn't.
yeah.
And it's just, but it's enough to be like, okay, God forbid we ever did this. But you could easily splash this into some sort of hot drink to make a hot toddy and not even worry about if it can affect it in any bad way.
Right.
But you could just, like you said, wake up Christmas morning, go downstairs, get yourself together, pour a glass of this, sit down, take it in.
Yeah, and do whatever the family thing is doing. I really wish, and we didn't prepare that at all. I really wish, and I almost for a second said, stop, I'm going to write down the day on a piece of paper and hold it up so everybody can see. But I really was suggesting Christmas myself.
I
right?
think it very much
Yeah.
so. Like I said, this is very easy going, and it's got almost that minty, cool.
It is. I mean, the sugar ends, and there's no whiskey, there's no medicinal,
No.
there's no smoke. It really just ends.
It's a
But
very
all
unique,
sweet.
interesting taste. I mean,
Yeah.
it really does do justice to what they were trying to do. If this was their
Yeah.
goal, let's make this into a graphic where it
Yeah.
speaks Candied.
Yeah.
They achieved it.
Right, and the idea of recharring the wine barrels, I mean, it's a flavor I've not really experienced in a whiskey because it's so focused on the sweetness that there are really no other flavors I'm picking up on.
Not really, and it may be something to do with the fact that we're now delved into the bottle and we haven't really had it. Maybe if we sat down and we were doing a full couple hours of just drinking this and making our comments as we went through the day, we may pick up stuff. But I don't think this was designed to do that.
Right.
I think this was designed to be,
Right.
you know what, we're going to take the bourbon cask, we're going to take that wine
Yep.
cask, we're going to make that wine cask, draw more sugar out of
Yep.
it, and we're going to
Agreed.
put it in a glass and we're going
Right.
to say, hey, look, this is what this
This
is.
is what we were trying for, right? And we got a graphic design because we've, been experiencing some complicated, some complex whiskeys with multiple
Yep.
flavors and the profiles expanding and the range growing. But here, I've had several drinks out of this glass now, and it's the same
Very
experience.
much. It's very much a step.
Yeah.
You go through
Right.
this similar taste that just progressively gets
Yeah.
more and more more and more solid in the sense that when we're going from this nice mellow sweet taste, candy taste, you get a little bit more, and by the end of it, it sort of says, hey, here's another boost.
Yep.
This is going to tide you over to your next sip.
Right. Mild, moderate, most, gone.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's not lasting at all.
No.
And that's again with the other reviews or the other conversations I've had about this, folks being a little like, oh, it's a little too sweet, overpowering. I'm not experiencing any
No, I would not
overpowering.
say overpowering at all.
No.
No way. I mean, in fact, if there maybe I need to rethink what we're doing, because obviously if people think this is overpowering, then I'm guessing, or I'm gone down the wrong line a couple of times when we've done these drinks, because I don't find this overpowering at all.
This is, again, you could drink this on Christmas morning.
Very much so.
Yeah.
You could also drink it every other day, but Christmas morning you could definitely do it. And I'm nearly done with my drink. I don't even want to even think about putting ice in this.
No, there seems to be nothing that needs to calm down.
But I'm going to try a piece.
Yeah, you let me know how that goes, because I'm not going to say I'm afraid to, but I'm reluctant to.
But I will say, when it goes down the wrong tube, it does leave a little heat behind you.
Like most things.
Like most things.
Yep.
But it really is. It's a gorgeous color, and it's a very drinkable Scotch.
Oh, it's easy. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in with the other 5 bottles we just we got with Pittsburgh.
You know, these ones, right? Yeah. All right. Well, let's hear a little bit about that ice, and maybe we'll start to wrap it up.
Okay. First things first. Obviously, ice. The initial taste is now cool.
Right.
Got a lot of cool.
Yep. It's going to subdue all the flavors right off the bat, generally.
And what I felt with this, it now compressed that entire sweetness, that progression that we were talking about, is now encapsulated in a one quick burst. Well, it goes like this, but what I will say now is there is more of a lingering taste at the back where I'm like, oh, okay, I do have a little sweetness coming through here. I am tasting this a little bit more as it draws through. It hasn't quite disappeared yet. Unlike when we first did it, neat.
All right. Well, I've just put a splash of water in based upon your comments, and I'll just do a quick thoughts on that, and then we'll sign off.
But that's really nice. That's a great drink.
Huh. It's lasting a little bit longer.
Yep.
It even traveled up into my nose a little bit, but it did, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Right? Before it was ending right with the liquid, and now it's ending with a little bit more aroma, but it's ending still. So I'm not picking up on other flavors.
Nope.
I'm still into just the sugar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said, that first bit is just, it's almost like there's the water, there's a little like vacuum that water takes up that sort of boosts you through whatever we were doing beforehand, and then you're left with this mild taste at the back of it, and then it just disappears.
So if you've done, like me, any research on the Milsean from Glenmorangie, and you've been reluctant because people have talked about it being overpoweringly sweet or whatnot, they're wrong.
As far as we're concerned.
As far as it's pretty darn good. So, Malcolm, do you know what country is sandwiched between Romania and Ukraine?
Or just for the sheer fact because we looked this up. That would be Moldova.
Moldova. And so in Moldova, they have a saying that means, loosely translated, good luck.
And this is one we may not butcher.
Yeah, although we did see a couple of different pronunciations.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Which we would have butchered.
But I think that we won't butcher it. We will probably say it consistently.
We shall.
Yes.
Nurok. That was good. That's good. I like that.